The end is an important part of Minecraft, but there's a more interesting part than the end itself. What is that, you ask? It's the end poem. Let's take a look. Julian Go is the guy that supposedly wrote Minecraft's end poem, as it says in this tweet. So 11 and a bit years ago, I wrote the only written narrative in Minecraft, the story that appears after you kill the Ender Dragon, a narrative which players often call the end poem. Today, I officially liberated that ending. What does that mean? In the next tweet, explains it a little bit. Well, that's a long story. I've written a 10,000 word post explaining everything. Internet groan's a terrible groan, which I strongly advise you to read if you actually want to understand the whole affair. Because it's complicated. But much of it comes down to the fact that for various reasons, read the extremely long post, I never signed a contract giving away any rights to my story. They're all retained by me. Now that is interesting. And this is the contract that he never signed, as it says here. Here's the contract I never signed, and then he has a picture of it. The next tweet, I quietly refused to sign it in 2011, the year I wrote the ending, and the game was officially released. And I refused to sign it again with a bit more shouting and general hullabaloo in 2014 when Marcus Notch Persson, I think I pronounced that right, sold Minecraft to Microsoft for $2.5 billion. That is a lot of money. I was under a lot of pressure to sign it, but I never signed it. So Microsoft have never owned the ending to Minecraft. I own it, and from today on, I'm letting everybody play with it. Now, this is an interesting thing. So it says here, Julian was under a lot of pressure to sign it. So Microsoft must have really wanted him to sign this thing, but obviously Julian was having none of that. Because it says here, I never signed it, which means Julian was having none of the idea of signing over the rights to the end poem to anybody. Julian clearly wanted to keep them. Well, good for them. Anyway, Julian goes on to say, now, if you read the full story, you'll see that I don't blame anyone for this. I don't want anyone to be mean to Marcus or Carl. I don't know who Carl is, or even Microsoft. They just played the standard capitalist game, as they are free to do. But I'm an artist, and I am free to disagree with how they play the game. I didn't like the way they played it, so I didn't sign the contract. And from now, after a lot of thought, I have transferred those words to the gift economy. Not sure what that means. Julian goes on to say that shouldn't make any difference to Minecraft itself. I'm not taking the words back, I'm making them a gift. How does that work? To everyone, including Microsoft. That means Microsoft are still free to use them, but so is everyone else. So, if you want to set the words of the end poem to music, or animate them, or dramatize them, or mash them up with something, or use them on t-shirts, posters, tote bags, barn doors. Barn doors is a funny little option there. Little humor from Julian, I guess. Be my guest. They are now free. Even puts a little post explaining everything below that. Not sure I'll worry about showing that post, though. Julian goes on to say, this is unfortunately quite likely to anger a $1 trillion corporation with global PR reach. So, I expect some blowback. If you share this thread, and people actually get a chance to read my piece first, it might give me some protection from their spin. Thanks. Oh, and one last thing. Please do not be mean to Marcus or Carl or even Microsoft. I get why they did the things they did. They were playing the capitalist game, which is fine, but I was playing the art game. We just misunderstood each other. No blame. I think that's good of Julian to be like that. Shows Julian has character. Anyway, Julian goes on to say, anyway, the end poem is finally free, as I suspect the universe always intended it to be. What do you guys think of all this? This is an interesting set of tweets. Personally, I think they're fascinating. I'm not sure about all of you, but I think it's interesting information, and I certainly was not aware of any of this before. Certainly has taught me a few things. Has it taught you anything interesting about the end poem? Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on the end poem, on the tweets, and on everything mentioned in them. I'd really appreciate your input. And I'd really appreciate it if you'd go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss another video. But that's it for this video. See you in the next one.